else than I. You're smoking some of the best dope God ever put around here.
Justin FREAKIN is a formidable voice in the culture.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories.
You live in sexual anarchy.
This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin FREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. It's a freaking Monday. No Bondi's big tits. I get what you're talking about because I hate fucking countdowns. What I usually do is if I'm watching somebody on YouTube, I usually pause it and then I'll come back to it. Like it'll be in a separate browser and I'll come back to it later. Like there is so much shit about my show that I don't personally like as a viewer that I do because it's kind of just the game. I don't like reaction content but it's perfect for me to be a stand-up comedian and news personality. And that's kind of what my life has been. I've always been a shock jock or a news person during my time on radio and television. So it blends perfectly together, but I don't personally watch other reaction content. I like video essays. I would actually like to make video essays, but it seems like this just blends my talents together well, and I do a good news show, so I don't know. Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. I like taking calls as well. We got a lot of news to get to today. We got crazy shit going on. The suspect in the White House Correspondents' Dinner was charged. Trump asked by Norah O'Donnell on CBS. I'm going to play the clip, but let me tell you, I've got a copyright strike right now. Storyful claimed one of my they claimed the money from one of my videos, and I said, no, I dispute it. And then I guess Storyful got mad, so they copyright claimed it. So I got a strike on my channel, but I've disputed that strike. Storyful now has 10 days to show that they've taken legal action against me, or I get my content back. Because I'm not going to let them bully me. That's what they're doing. They're a content farm that is bullying small channels. I had a video of a police interaction. I think I'm 100% in the right in this one, because I am literally talking the entire clip like I'm calling commentary, like it's a fight. So I 100% transformative, fair use. Fuck them. I am going to bat for it. But I have that copyright strike on my channel for the next 10 days. So I really don't want to play something from CBS because they're very quick to claim your shit. But everybody else has been playing the clip, and I'm loving this clip, so I'm gonna play it. I'm playing CNN's version of playing the clip on CNN's YouTube, and they're not getting claimed by CBS, so hopefully we're in the good. The shooter was interviewed by ABC7. That's one of our favorite channels to watch for police chases. Interviewed by ABC7 back in like 2019. Apparently his parents are solid people. And then there's another I Am Playing with Fire tonight. There's two different entities that love copyright striking your stuff, and that's ABC and Jimmy Kimmel. But Jimmy Kimmel has made news. I'm going to play the one little joke. Hopefully 4 seconds isn't going to get me claimed. Big Jerry, welcome in. Thank you for being at the premiere of one of my videos last night. I appreciate you, friend. I appreciate all the new followers on YouTube. Light one up, tip one back. Oh, I had some station out of Charlotte about this time last year. We were watching them it was a school shooting. It may have been Greensboro now that I think about it, but it was a school shooting, and we were watching them live. I was on for something else, and I took their live feed, and they copyright claimed me. And I got really pissed about it, because like when they copyright claim you, you get an email. You can message the person that copyright claimed you, and I messaged them and I let them have it, and I'm like, no, it's like, it was a school shooting. You've got the live coverage. This is pertinent. I'm not hindering your ability to make money in any way. It's odd that you would copyright claim me. I am as fair use as they come, and I've also got the double whammy of I do a show with a troll head. I can claim parody as well. Soup, welcome in, friend. DeJones, always a pleasure. The press secretary, Donald Trump, calling for Jimmy Kimmel to be taken off air. I'm going to play you that clip. We're going to show you what the press secretary had to say back. The National Trust says it will not drop the suit over the White House ballroom that is keeping it from being built at the moment. King Charles, if my British moderator warlord is in the house, we're going to talk about King Charles and his visit here, state visit. which is coming at a weird time because the Prime Minister facing an inquiry over one of his advisors, a man by the name of Mandelson, who is named in the Epstein files. Iran made a proposal to open up the Strait of Hormuz. Marco Rubio says he has rejected it. German Chancellor Merz says that the U.S. is being embarrassed by Iran, and I have one of their newest Lego videos to prove it. J.D. Vance apparently doubting the Pentagon's numbers. This coming as Israel sent Iron Dome weaponry to the UAE, never before reported, broke by Axios earlier today. This Pentagon story with Vance, one that dropped from the Atlantic within the last hour. Israeli factions are joining together, the factions that ousted Netanyahu in, 2022? When he wasn't prime minister for a few months. They have come back together. A center-right coalition and a far-right coalition, further to the right of Bibi, have come together to take him out. This comes as his criminal trial hearing delayed. Oddly enough, it was supposed to take place today. Ron DeSantis proposing a new congressional map in Florida that would give Republicans 4 more seats. I don't hear anybody bitching about that the way they bitched about Virginia. This comes as Virginia Supreme Court is hearing challenges to the new map voted on by the electorate in Virginia last week. Boston University students have sued over the school's response to a school shooter. We're going to give you an update on the cop killer in Chicago. He apparently uncooperative in court, delaying the hearing. A mom accused of killing her kids has agreed to be extradited back to Maryland. A cop apparently kidnapped was able to shoot the perp while in the car, in the getaway car. Got wild footage of a Lamborghini crash in Miami. An Indiana Senate candidate was found with cocaine while he was out handing out flyers, canvassing for his campaign. An Indiana woman was arrested, choked on a baggie of meth while being booked into the jail. A former Alabama University player was wearing wigs and makeup to try to impersonate NFL players. I've got an update on a man who was using a bear costume to commit insurance fraud. In Florida, we got a few different... Apparently, the kids are getting ready to get out of school, and they're doing some crazy shit down in Florida. An amusement park was taken over by some teenagers. And wild video of some teens riding lawnmowers into a Walmart. All that and a lot freaking more tonight on the Troll Patrol Live. Good evening, Byronic, Lenny, Holiday. To Jones, it was prostate cancer. Perhaps you are confusing him with the congressman that died of butt cancer. Or tank cancer. I think I was corrected on that one. The congressman didn't die of butt cancer. It was tank cancer. Oh my God, I'm going to have to do it since you brought up butt cancer. No, I want the original here. Not one of the mini remixes. Sorry, my apologies. I need the original version, not some version someone's dallied up. I should have this handy for any time I want to play it. This is Pastor David Manning. You may have seen this on things like Tosh.0.
God's going to put a cancer in the butthole. God's going to put a cancer in the butthole of every sodomite. Every sodomite's butthole will get cancer in the butthole. It'll burn and burn and burn. They won't be able to sit down because of the burning in their butthole. He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole. God's going to have a flame coming out of your butthole. You're going to have a flame coming out of your butthole. If you thought that AIDS was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet until you see the...
Listen, like with everything, I feel like this is projection. This man has had gay butt sex. He has taken a dick in his ass, and he has gotten some sort of STD that has made him feel like his asshole's on fire. And he is warning you about what could happen if you have gay sex.
A flaming butthole. Your butthole will be flaming, and you will not be able to sit down.
Wear a condom, kiddos.
Coming out of your butthole, and there'll be people walking around all over America with flames coming out of their butthole. And everyone who takes it up the rear, everyone who has a penis injected in his butthole, when that penis comes out, the flame will start burning, because ain't nobody gonna stick no penis in that flame. That flame will be an eternal flame coming out of the butthole of every sodomite. Flame coming out of the butthole, flame.
Is this butthole an eternal flame?
Coming out of your butt. That man pulls that penis.
I shouldn't sing.
A flame is going to come out, and nobody will ever stick a penis in your butthole again, because it will be on fire. You ain't seen nothing till you see the flame coming out of T.D. Jake's butt. Lightning bug got a flame coming out of his butt, and all flames shooting out of their behinds. You're going to see the power of God. Flame of fire is going to come out their butthole.
Light one up, tip one back. Do you have a specific one? I think Socks is under the bed. There's Smokey and there's Maynard. Him sleepy. I gave him treats and stuff right before the stream. So that's why he's probably napping. This is Smokey Bong. He's about 11 or 12, I think. I'm in 2016 and he was about 2. About 12. Oregon gal, thank you. Flash, welcome in, friend. Soup, Van. Anybody else sneak in here on me? Cricks, Shelly, good to see you guys. Byronic. I feel like we need to blame Cricks for something just because it's bound to be Cricks' fault. Oh, hold on, Cricks. Let me see if I can find this real fast. I may not be able to because it's been a little bit now. But remember I had that call? And you nailed it. I didn't notice your comment in real time. But when I went back and edited the video, you called the dude being a Nazi long before I realized he was a Nazi. Ask about the butt stuff? I mean, I charge extra for butt stuff.
Hey, Justin, are you trolling?
No, I do butt stuff, but always, ask a partner, be prepared, wash your ass.
Life is too short to walk this earth or a crusty asshole. Wash your ass.
But you nailed it early on. I had it the comments circled you fucking called it before anybody else and before I realized what was going on. I was like, fuck yeah, Cricks. Okay, let's get to the news. I've bullshitted enough. Welcome in, friends. Ow, shit. The White House Correspondents' Dinner shooter appeared in court just a couple of hours ago.
Erica, the surprise announcement was made right from the bench when the judge said that Mr. Allen was being charged with attempting to assassinate the President of the United States. We didn't know that until we were in the courtroom and Mr. Allen had actually walked in.
Once again, he did not say he was going after Trump. He said he was going after a pedophile, a rapist, and a traitor. So by charging him with assassination of the president, is that admitting that Trump is a pedophile, a rapist, and a traitor?
We are learning some new information tonight, including the fact that he set his email, according to prosecutors, to go out at the exact time that he was planning this attack, according to prosecutors, and that was at 8:40 p.m. on Saturday night. Here's what else we know. Cole Thomas Allen walked into the courtroom dressed in what appeared to be blue scrubs and immediately sat down at the defense table. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro was sitting in the front row. Magistrate Judge Matthew Sharbaugh then went through.
Okay, and also before we start, I forgot because I went off on a rant. We gotta do something else. Okay, so I apparently did not make this abundantly clear, or people are just commenting based on the titles of my videos and stuff and not actually hearing what I said, not taking the jokes or understanding what I'm doing. It is the Troll Patrol. I 100% do not believe that this was a conspiracy in any way. I don't believe he was put up to do this. So far, I have no reason to believe that he wasn't a nominally leftist liberal person that thought he was taking out a pedophile, and good on him for that. I made the jokes about the ballroom and shit because but I don't think all these people that tweeted about the ballroom, Jack Posobiec, Libs of TikTok, and Wokeness, Meghan McCain, all of them that tweeted in unison, this is why we need the ballroom. I don't think they were directed to do it by Trump. I talk about this all the time on this show. It's perverse incentive structures. I talked about the conspiracy just because it's going to get clicks and views. I made a video like the story doesn't add up. I literally made a thumb that said false flag. Yeah. So this was my thumbnail for the video, the clip I made for YouTube last night. It says false flag. There's going to be shots. I'm trolling. I don't believe that. I don't believe it was a false flag at all. I totally believe this dude. I'm open I'm open to hearing otherwise, but the evidence that we have thus far is that this dude was genuine and that he believed he was doing the world a favor and taking out a pedophile. And, you know, the right's talking about all the rhetoric, but good on him. He would have done the world a favor and took out a pedophile. I am still fascinated by why he said not Kash Patel. He said he would target anybody in the administration except Kash Patel. Did he think Kash Patel was too incompetent to be a part of anything? And that's why, like, he's innocent. He's too stupid to know what's going on. I'm fascinated by this. Lee Harvey Oswald, there's a lot of shit that we don't know, but as far as I'm concerned, he was the shooter. I don't know what motivated what's his name, Jack Ruby, to shoot Oswald. We never found that shit out, and there's a lot of meat on the bone to a conspiracy with the JFK shooting, but I have so far no reason to question that Lee Harvey, like in the Jesse Ventura conspiracy theory show, he gets up there and he's like, I was a trained Navy marksman and I couldn't make that shot. But I've heard several other marksmen say that wasn't unusual. Like it wasn't a hard shot to make. I had a professor on it was like the 30th anniversary, 40th anniversary, whatever it was of the shooting when I was in college. I had a professor on. His specialty was the JFK assassination. He explained to me that the seat in the motorcade is raised and it's also turned. So the whole magic bullet theory is thinking that the car is a normal car with a normal back seat, but it's not. It was a specialty made back seat that was raised for the president to do these waves to people on the street. So like there's other details that conflict with things. Like once again, when you're dealing with a conspiracy, it takes a lot of people keeping their mouths shut, and that's impossible for humans to do. The amount of people that would need to know to pull it off is too vast for everyone to keep their mouths shut and be that coordinated. There's also never assume malice where you can assume incompetence. And I'm 100% convinced that most people are incompetent. Most of the population is stupid, me included. And most of the population is susceptible to bullshit. So I don't think there are people with the skill enough to pull it off. Once again, my explanation, which is Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is usually the best explanation. There's perverse incentive structures. Like all these people that tweeted about the White House ballroom didn't do it because somebody coordinated them to tweet about the White House ballroom. It just makes them money because the tweets are going to be popular. They're all blue checks. They all earn revenue from Twitter, and they tweet fucking constantly. And right after Trump said it, was a perfect time for them to tweet all this shit out in unison and make money off of it. Because once again, it's the Trump effect. Even I have experienced it. When we covered Trump speeches and rallies and shit, my numbers went up. Even in 2024, my numbers went up. It's just capitalism incentivizing people to do this shit, and it looks like a conspiracy because shit like this is coordinated. Looks coordinated. But it's just them being incentivized to do this by the system. And the system keeps perpetuating itself. Okay, anyway, the shooter, and if you wanted to be a conspiracy theorist, what was this dude's name? Thomas Allen Cole, or Alan Thomas Cole? And then Matthew Thomas Crooks was the Butler shooter?
Sure, Anna and Erica, the surprise announcement was made right from the bench when the judge said that Mr. Allen was being charged with attempting to assassinate the President of the United States. We didn't know that until we were in the courtroom and Mr. Allen had actually walked in. We are learning some new information tonight, including the fact that he set his email, according to prosecutors, to go out at the exact time that he was planning this attack, according to prosecutors, and that was at 8:40 p.m. on Saturday night. Here's what else we know. Cole Thomas Allen walked into the courtroom dressed in what appeared to be blue scrubs and immediately sat down at the defense table. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro was sitting in the front row. Magistrate Judge Matthew Sharbaugh then went through what is familiar in these routine hearings, and he asked a number of questions. Cole Thomas Allen told the judge he was 31 years old and had a master's degree. He nodded.
Cole Thomas Allen, Matthew Thomas Crooks. Kind of weird, don't you think? Lee Harvey Oswald, what? Also, how many times on this show have I told you the profession most likely to produce terrorists is engineers? Engineers are the most likely to become terrorists. He was an engineer. Thank you.
He nodded his head at a number of the judge's questions, indicating he understood, and then told the judge he wanted a court-appointed attorney. At one point, the assistant U.S. attorney assigned to the case showed photos of the pistol and the shotgun to the judge and gave copies to the defense. The hearing lasted just a few minutes before Judge Sharbaugh told Allen he would be back in court Thursday for a detention hearing. Now, according to the complaint filed in federal court today, Allen booked a room at the Washington Hilton on April 6th for 3 nights. The complaint says he arrived here by train on Friday and checked into the hotel. Prosecutors say he legally purchased the .38 pistol in California in 2023 and bought the shotgun in August of 25. The document says Allen had an email set to go out automatically, as I just mentioned. The complaint quotes from the email. It says, administration officials, not including Mr. Patel, they are targets, prioritized from highest ranking to lowest. Secret Service, they are targets only if necessary and to be incapacitated if possible. The complaint also adds these details.
Kaiser O's? Did I say that right? Kaiser Soze? I did not vote for Trump. I'm sorry that you were led to believe that. In 2016, I felt disenfranchised and didn't vote because I voted for Bernie in the primary. I moved and didn't change my registration and didn't feel that I should change my registration. I feel sorry about that now. It wouldn't have mattered. I was in a solid red state at the time. I was in Alabama working for a news station. In 2020, I happily voted for Joe Biden. And in 2024, I begrudgingly voted for Kamala Harris. If that voted for Bernie again in the primaries in 2020, and would have voted for somebody other than Harris had there been a primary. I understand the way that primaries work and everything, so I didn't make a big deal about Harris being the nominee. I don't know because it was always Biden's choice whether he wanted to run or not, and the party machinations just always they step aside. They don't really have a primary. Yes, he voted for Trump. No, like I've been doing the show since 2020, so you can go back and see that I waited until like the week before to say that I was voting for Biden. Had never in 2020 waited until the week before, but I knew I was voting for Biden, like as a harm reduction thing. But I declared it like the week before. I'm going to walk down on election day. I'm going to vote for Biden, and I did. And in 2024, like I debated people about voting for Kamala or not. Made fun of, like, I had this MAGA dude on, and he's like, I want to convince you not to vote for Kamala, and he told me that his number one issue was immigration. I'm like, what state do you live in? And he's like, Maryland. And I'm like, Maryland, and immigration is your number one issue. Like, mock the shit out of him. It was great. There's the fucking Warlord has videos clipped of me out of context. Do you want me to explain more, or is it too much explaining for you? You voted Clinton, Gore, Kerry, Obama, Hillary, Biden. Hell yeah. If you want me to go back that far, in the 2000 election, I was just shy of being able to vote. I was like 3 months shy of being able to vote in the 2000 election, but I campaigned for Bush. I was president of the Young Republicans in high school. And by 2024, I was like radical lib hippy dippy motherfucker by 2004. So very much voted for Kerry, campaigned for Kerry. 2008 I voted for Obama, and I voted for Obama in the primary. And in 2004 I voted for Dean in the primary. I was very much on the Dean train. Voted for Obama in the primary in 2008. Yes, I was president of the Young Republicans in high school. But there's reason, and like predominantly a crush on a girl was the reason why. So don't read too much into it. I seem genuine. Like I would you like to have a conversation with me? Like you can call in or get in the Discord. I'm interested in what you. In 2000 I was a huge McCain fan, but remember I was just shy of being able to vote. I was in high school. I was president of Young Republicans. I was McCain in that primary, and then voted for Bush, or would have voted for Bush, campaigned for Bush. In 2012, I voted for Gary Johnson. I was of the opinion that the strongest third party in my state. I was living in Tennessee, going to college at that time, and I voted for Gary Johnson because the Libertarian Party was the strongest third party in my state. So, like, I'm not a partisan. I vote my conscience, and I will defend my vote for in any of those elections. I will defend my vote. Man, that one was a wild one because I went to bed disappointed and woke up and Bush had won. It was crazy. Voted Johnson in 2016. I could see that. I think I've figured the Jones out. The Jones is anti-establishment. My grandfather voted for Ross Perot. See, I wasn't old enough to vote for Ross Perot. I don't know if I could have voted for a billionaire. But, like, he was in 1992, he shook up that election. He's probably why Clinton won. He had a big enough share of the vote. He didn't carry, like, he carried maybe 2 electoral votes or some shit like that. But he carried enough of the popular vote siphoned enough away from Bush, I think. Like my grandfather. What are your politics, Kaiser? Kaiser sore. No, that's not it. Ponder Monkey. Welcome in, friend. I've been yakking with the chat. We can get back to... Me and my buddy called Pat Buchanan's hotline. I didn't know Pat Buchanan was a Nazi back then. But we called Pat Buchanan's hotline in 2000. We asked him why we should vote for Pat Buchanan, and the dude that answered the phone was like, Pat Buchanan has the balls to run this country. And as an edgy high schooler at the time, I really enjoyed that answer. I don't remember anything about tanks. Ross Perot was the billionaire that tried to buy the 1992 election. He ran again in 1996, but wasn't near as successful. I've never voted for a Clinton. I would, with the hindsight I have now, I probably would have voted Hillary in 2016. Again, it wouldn't have mattered. But, like, she ain't that bad. She ain't that bad of a woman. I mean, my gripes that I had with her still stand, but in comparison, I would have much rather had her as the president in 2016. Like, hands down, like, not a question. She was competent, qualified, measured. At the time, I was very much... I liked the schadenfreude of her not breaking because she had her fucking campaign party at a hotel that had a glass ceiling to symbolically show she hired these authors. That's how we got the book Shattered. That's how I know so much about her and that campaign. Hired those authors to be embedded with her. Because she thought she was going to win. She was going to be shattered. The glass ceiling, how Hillary Clinton won the 2016 campaign. And instead it was shattered. How she lost the 2016 campaign. My gripes with Hillary still stand. She was very much pro Wall Street. She's still a war hawk. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why Obama made the nuclear deal with Iran, was to prevent any, like, Democratic administration from being able to tinker with what he did and stir up shit with Iran. It was kind of insulating it against a Hillary Clinton presidency. So anyway, we'll get back to I'm proud of my voting record. I don't know if I would have changed my vote in 2012. I don't like Gary Johnson at all. Don't take that as an endorsement of Gary Johnson. Simply that I am pretty convinced there needs to be viable third parties, not another third party. Parties. I'm a big fan of the parliamentary system. We should have numerous political parties. And I would like a leftist party that represents me, and that you have to win over different coalitions in order to govern. I think that is better for everybody. Okay. Trump was hit with a question during his 60 Minutes interview last night with Norah O'Donnell. And it's kind of the question that's, on everybody's mind. He didn't say that he was trying to assassinate the president. He said that he was going to take out a pedophile, a rapist, and a traitor. So is Trump admitting he is a pedophile, a rapist, and a traitor?
The president did an interview with 60 Minutes overnight on the event itself and the investigation. There was one question
I would have voted for Obama a third time if I could have.
Analyst Brian Stelter for the latest on this. Good morning to you. Long time no see.
Yeah, I thought they fired this bitch.
Good morning. Axios put it really well this morning. It said one uncomfortable question was all it took for President Trump to resume hostilities with the media. Here is that exchange with CBS's Norah O'Donnell from last night.
He writes this quote, "Administration officials, they are targets." And he also wrote this, "I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes." What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people, horrible people. Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
You literally are. You are an adjudicated rapist. That is a fact that cannot be denied. You are indeed a rapist, sir. So sorry about that.
I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
Do you think he was referring to you?
Excuse me. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. You should be ashamed of yourself reading that, because I'm not any of those things.
Mr. President,
and I
these
was
are
never,
the gunman's words.
Excuse me. You shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace.
I want to tell you two things about that. Number one, this is President Trump as we've always known him. This is not surprising. What was surprising was that on Saturday night, he was calm and respectful. He showed, a different demeanor toward the press corps.
I love this picture. Did they stand him up? No, they've sat him up against one of the marble columns. He clearly never took his shirt off outside. His face is so fucking dark, and his shoulders are so scrawny and white. This is insane. Also, Chelsea, I didn't give you a proper good evening. Good evening, friend. I'm glad to have you here. Bondi's big tits. Glad to have you here as well. He was interviewed by ABC7 back in like 2019.
About that alleged gunman, Cole Allen from Torrance. He is a registered voter in LA County, but he's not registered with either political party. According to his LinkedIn profile, he's a trained mechanical engineer who graduated from Caltech back in 2017. Just last year, he earned his master's in computer science from Cal State Dominguez Hills. Allen describes himself as an indie game developer, and one such game credited to him is described on its Steam page as a skill-based, non-violent fighting game. Also last year, he posted to LinkedIn that he was named Teacher of the Month at the education company where he's believed to be currently employed.
In the hours after the shooting, when authorities learned that Cole Allen lived in Torrance, they descended on his home trying to learn more. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes is live in Torrance for us this evening with exclusive video you'll only see here.
Well, Stephen Colbert was talking to us.
Yeah, residents here stunned to find out that the D.C. shooting suspect lived right over there at his parents' home. Now, meantime, we're learning that right before the shoot.
Kaiser, 60-year-old titty skin. Funny you should mention that, because I do. I very much do. You're gonna make me break out the picture. That's the kind of thing that gets a titty slap around here.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
It's so far down in my... I got to scroll through 1,000 pictures of Nancy Mace. And Joni Ernst to get to the picture of Nancy Pelosi. There you go.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
Sorry.
He sent
Big
a
Ben,
message
welcome
to
in.
his family spelling out his plans. Cole Allen, a 31-year-old Caltech engineering graduate and college prep tutor, now in custody, accused of opening fire at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. ABC News quoting sources that say Allen sent a message describing himself as, quote, a friendly federal assassin. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche saying it does appear that Allen was targeting people in the Trump administration, including the president. And an Eyewitness News exclusive, we interviewed a man who appeared to be Allen when he was a student at Caltech.
The idea with this is to prevent it from moving at all.
We found him at an aging conference. He had designed a new way to make wheelchairs safer.
The wheelchair brakes tend to lock the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground.
That was back in 2017. Today, according to his LinkedIn profile, Allen was working for C2 Education, a private company that prepares students for college entrance exams. That profile claiming C2 actually named him its Teacher of the Month in December 2024. In a written statement, the company today said,
I'm not impressed.
Shocked to hear the news of the horrifying incident that transpired at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We are cooperating fully with law enforcement to assist them in their investigation. Violence of any kind is never the answer. Allen describes himself online as developing this video game called Boredom, what he calls an atomic fighting game. On the gaming platform Steam, one of the popular tags used to find it was Bullet Hell. Another was Shooter.
I was shocked. I didn't believe it. I thought, no, they're just saying that.
Today, Allen's Torrance neighbors are left reeling after finding out he's the man arrested in the D.C. shooting.
It's really surprising, really shocking. I'm sad for his family. You know, his parents are good people. They don't deserve this. They're school teachers, solid, like really solid members of the community.
Now, sources tell Associated Press that Allen's brother called police in Connecticut once he saw the message that his brother sent, but that call came 2 hours after the shooting. Meantime, Allen's sister told investigators that Allen bought the weapons legally in California and he kept them here at his parents' house without his parents knowing.
Yeah, apparently they didn't know.
Reporting live in Torrance, Rob Hayes, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Rob Hayes, thank you. And stay with Eyewitness News for the latest on the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner and that suspect's local ties.
The shooter's parents, apparently solid people. They're solid people. They are not gaseous. They are not liquid. They quoted as being solid people.
Of the shooting, federal and local authorities swarmed Allen's home just south of Los Angeles. They wanted to know why and went for the evidence. CBS News Los Angeles' Tina Patel picks up that part of the story and what investigators are learning so far about the suspect's life in California.
Well, a lot of shock in this neighborhood. Now, we haven't seen any movement in this home right now, so we don't know if Cole Allen's family is still here. But they were here this weekend when law enforcement came to do a search, and the FBI was back out here yesterday. We saw them going door to door, interviewing neighbors. The 31-year-old suspect lived here with his parents, but neighbors say he mostly stayed to himself. They would see him occasionally going to work or school, but they didn't know much about him. According to Allen's LinkedIn page, he graduated from Cal State Dominguez Hills last year with a master's in computer science. He had previously studied mechanical engineering at Caltech and worked at C2 Education as a tutor. He was named their Teacher of the Month back in December 2024. Now, records show Allen legally purchased guns over the last few years, but family members reportedly told investigators that Allen's parents may not have been aware that he had those weapons. Neighbors say Allen's father seemed like a peaceful man.
He was always outside. Working in the garage, so he would just wave.
The parents I'm friends with. I'm friends with his dad. They're very solid, peaceful, good people in the community.
Now, law enforcement is reviewing a so-called manifesto that Allen may have sent to family members just minutes before the attack in Washington. In it, he apologizes to his parents and to everyone whose trust he says he abused. As we come back out here live, when this all got underway and the connection was made on Saturday night, the mayor of Torrance actually came to this neighborhood and he put out a statement saying that the actions of one person should not reflect at all on this community. The question is whether this suspect acted alone or whether anyone else might have known about his plans. That's something investigators are looking into.
Tina Patel, thank you so much.
The number one profession most likely to commit terrorism: engineers. Over and over again. I say it over and over again because it's true. I've seen it happen over and over again. These are people that have the ability to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in the capitalist free market. But for some reason are motivated. I wish that he had been better. His plan, okay, I've got to give him this. He got further than I would have ever expected when I saw him take off running there. He's a fast fucker, apparently. But I don't know that... So he had access. He was staying at the hotel. Why wouldn't you try to make some contraption you could lower into that room or plant somewhere that you had access to? Because you were talking about the security. You've been there since Friday. You said it was lax. A drone. A drone. Yeah, I usually, if you want to take out a head of state, it's got to be a large movement to force him down. But I don't think we're there yet. Maybe. I think we should have been there back in 2012, 2011. Post Occupy Wall Street, we should have been there. Alright, so on Thursday's episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live, he held a mock correspondence dinner and he made this joke.
Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow. Our First Lady...
So the right has ran with this. Trump himself truth socialed this long ass diatribe. Wow, Jimmy Kimmel, who is in no way funny as attested to by his terrible television ratings, made a statement on his show that is really shocking. He showed a fake video of the First Lady Melania and our son Barron like they were actually sitting in a studio listening to him speak, which they weren't and never would be. He then stated, our First Lady Melania, this guy has worked in TV. Apparently, he did not know that wrestling was fake. Bret Hart said that when he hosted WrestleMania, it was either 4 or 5. He hosted both of those at Trump. Or was it 6, 7? It was whichever one it was at Trump Atlantic Casino. And Bret Hart said that he did not understand that wrestling was fake. Reports came out that because WrestleMania, that would have been 80, 88, 89, something like that. In 2008, after Vince McMahon faked his own death on TV and his limo exploded, Trump called WWE headquarters to make sure his friend Vince was okay because he saw the limo explode. Our First Lady, Melania, is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow. A day later, a lunatic tried entering the ballroom with the White House Correspondents' Dinner, loaded up with a shotgun, handgun, and many knives. He was there for a very obvious and sinister reason. I appreciate that so many people are incensed by Kimmel's despicable call to violence and normally would not be responsive to anything that he said, but this is something far beyond the pale. Jimmy Kimmel should be immediately fired by Disney and ABC. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President Donald J. Trump. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who I thought was going on maternity leave, was apparently there today for the press conference.
Jimmy Kimmel's comments were, Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow. And he said this days before the shooting, but there does seem to be a normalization of rhetoric about assassinating this particular president. How can this administration try to put an end to this?
Well, I think you heard it directly from the president on Saturday night, Aisha, that in his words, we need to recommit ourselves as a country to toning down the rhetoric and to unifying around what makes our country great.
He had just called a CBS reporter horrible like 12 hours before this.
That's true of everyone who works in this White House, but as I said, it's also true of everyone who has a voice and a platform across this country, whether you're on television, a podcast host, people listen. And when you have mentally disturbed individuals across the country who are listening to this crazed rhetoric about the president day after day after day, it inspires them to do crazy things. And unfortunately, it's not just the media, it is the entire Democrat Party has made their pitch to voters across the country that Donald Trump poses an existential threat to democracy, that he does. A fascist, and that they compare him to Hitler.
He is a fascist.
These are despicable statements.
I love that like two of the most famous people to compare Trump to Hitler are his own vice president, J.D. Vance, which just shows what a sycophant he is, and then his former chief of staff, John Kelly.
The American people have been consuming for years, and so many mentally perturbed individuals are led to believe these words are truth and then are inspired to act on it. I have a whole host of examples that we can share with you after. It is pages and pages of major Democrat Party elected officials saying, such as Rep. Hakeem Jeffries just this month said, "We are in an era of maximum warfare everywhere all the time." Governor Josh Shapiro said heads need to roll within the administration. Senator Alex Padilla said people are, quote, dying because of fear and terror caused by the Trump administration. Senator Elizabeth Warren, President Trump is making the country look like a, quote, fascist state. Senator Adam Schiff saying President Trump using a dictator playbook. Senator Ed Markey calling President Trump a dictator, saying that this administration's actions are authoritarianism on steroids. Governor J.B. Pritzker, never before in my life have I called for mass protest disruptions. These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. You have Rep. Presley saying, "We'll see you in the streets." Rep. Monica McIver, a Democrat representative on Capitol Hill, "We will not take this shit from Donald Trump. He thinks he's a dictator. We are at war." These are Democrat elected officials calling for war against the President of the United States and his supporters. I could go on and on, but again, when you have people in positions of power that are saying things like this every single day for years, you are inspiring violence by people who are already mentally ill. And that's what we've seen against this president for far too long.
This is disinformation and misinformation online. There will be bite-sized clips that will go viral to the point where there are Americans in this country that believe that what happened Saturday night was staged. How does this White House tackle that with social media companies out there, whether it's X, Facebook, Instagram? How do they work with these companies to make sure that doesn't get out of control?
It's certainly a good question, Aisha. I don't have tangible answers for you on what we're doing with social media companies, if anything at all. What I will say is it's very important to us that we get the truth and the facts about this case and any case out there as quickly as possible to dispel some of that crazy nonsense that you do see running rampant online.
Yeah, I thought she was going on maternity leave because apparently she is ready to pop at any second. So she had said that Friday was her last gaggle, but here she is, I guess, because of the events of Saturday night. I have no idea why she's still there right now. Because as I understand it, that kid is getting ready to pop out anytime. And someone said they can fix her. She is way too young to be my GOP mommy. I like them far older. Well, her husband is like 70 or 80 or something. He's an old fart. When I found out Pam Bondi was like 62, I was like, oh damn. She got a hell of a lot more attractive. I'm sorry, cancel Justin. Seriously. Silent, I don't think I gave you a good evening. DJ Dub, my friend, good to see you. The National Trust had sued Donald Trump in order to keep that ballroom from being built. They say they refuse to drop their suit.
And the Justice Department calls on Historic Preservation Group to drop its lawsuit that right now is blocking construction for the White House ballroom. Department officials say the shooting at the Hilton in Washington shows this planned ballroom would provide the space needed for the safety and security of the president. Administration officials have argued in court this proposed ballroom advances critical national security objectives. A federal judge called the argument incredible, if not disingenuous. Justice Department officials say if the National Trust for Historic Preservation does not drop its lawsuit by the morning, the administration will move to dismiss the case altogether.
Well, too fucking bad. That's all I got to say about it. King Charles arrived at the White House maybe 3 hours ago, something like that. Skip ahead a little bit here. This is his arrival. I saw some right-wingers tweeting out, no kings protesting at the actual king. They're like, he's not our king. What? And he actually doesn't have a lot of power. He's kind of just a figurehead. We're going to talk about the person that actually has power here momentarily. And he might not have power all that much longer. They also shut everything the fuck down on these state visits. DC is locked the fuck down. It was weird seeing the motorcade for the king on a completely empty highway. President and the First Lady emerge.
Up. Ready open. Doors ready closed. Ready
That's Camilla, right? Is she the queen now? She was like a duchess or something? But but now she's I don't know how any of that shit works. I'm a freedom-loving American. Well, I don't know why you would bring up Marie Antoinette. Let's not lose our heads over this. He's got such little hands. Anytime he does that point, I'm like, God damn, his hands are small. I wouldn't keep coming back to it, except for, like, it really bothers him. And they are, like, abnormally small. I bet Melania's hands are way bigger than his. I bet Melania's dick is way bigger than his. That wasn't like a trans joke or anything. She's got more masculine energy than he does. The king doesn't have a lot of power. The man who does have power is the prime minister. His name is Keir Starmer, and he may not be prime minister very much longer. We should break out the lettuce. Now, the reason I say this is because they've issued a couple of different statements that I've seen this one before. The UK has been really unstable when it comes to their prime minister over the last 10 years or so. It's been a revolving door, and I've seen the same statements from people right before they resign. And Keir Starmer issued several of those statements last week that lead me to believe he is on the verge of resigning. And it will be the Labour Party will get to pick who the next prime minister will be. Tomorrow there is set to be a vote on an investigation into Starmer because of his connections to an advisor that was named in the Epstein files.
Senator Gary Gibbon joins us from the Houses of Parliament. Gary.
Well, it was a reference to the Privileges Committee that pretty much sealed the political demise of Boris Johnson. So the stakes in such an inquiry kicking off, an investigation by that committee, are high. And at various points today, so was the sense of jeopardy at the very top of government, because they put into play an enormous operation to ring round Labour MPs, pull them back from their constituencies. Many were given the slip for this week so that they could go and campaign in their constituencies. Many will be flying back overnight, and what we're hearing as well is that quite a few MPs who are persistent troublemakers are being told, you know what, actually you can stay in your constituency, you can carry on campaigning, because the government thought there was a serious risk of losing this.
Wow, this man has really big hands. We went from Trump and his itty bitty hands to this man has, like, you talk about sausage fingers. Look at those honkers.
Vote tomorrow. Another
now that's a hand
in play is that people like Gordon Brown have been wheeled out making supportive statements about the Prime Minister, and he's gone to the Parliamentary Labour Party yet again. He doesn't go this frequently. He's been quite a few times recently and been addressing them upstairs and talking about how this is a stunt by the Tories and mustn't lure Labour MPs into endorsing it. There were two critical questions from Labour MPs saying that actually the Prime Minister could have done away with all this problem of a vote tomorrow and the jeopardy of that by just referring himself to the Privileges Committee. He most certainly did.
His fingers are like baby licks.
There is a sense tonight that this major operation. People are talking about getting 3-4 phone calls, one from a whip, one from a senior minister, one from an advisor in number 10. Proper ring around and pressure. There is a sense tonight that that has worked, but tomorrow morning we're going to have people giving evidence to the Foreign Affairs Select Committee on the Mandelson affair. Sir Philip Barton, former Foreign Office Permanent Secretary, Morgan
Mandelson is the advisor that Starmer had that he is now in hot water over because of Mandelson's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein.
Sweeney, the celebrated former Chief of Staff to the Prime Minister. Until that's out the way, until they see that that hasn't contributed even more to the pressure around this issue, I don't think the government will be breathing a sigh of relief.
Thanks, Gary. Well, earlier I spoke to the Health Minister, Stephen Kinnock, and I began by asking him if tomorrow's vote and the operation to save Keir Starmer...
Where did he get that tie, Bikini Bottom?
...the Prime Minister's position is.
Well, of course, it's the Speaker's.
Oh, God.
To decide
it's British
whether or not
Stephen Miller.
This process should take place. He's decided that it has. And then clearly it's our job to respond to that and make clear why there's no need for it. It's a distraction. It's the opposition parties playing political games.
The point is, this is a massive distraction, isn't it, right now? You've got elections coming up. MPs want to be out there trying to win the argument for councils, and they're not able to because of this.
I agree with you. It is a massive distraction, and that's exactly what Badenoch.
No, he looks like Woody Harrelson fucked Pitbull. This is the child. Why does Pitbull keep haunting me?
And the others are looking to do. You know, let's stay focused on what is really happening here. Is that we've got a Prime Minister who's taken the right decisions around Iran, and we've seen Badenoch and Farage wanting to jump in with both feet. We've got delivery in terms of, at least until the bombing of Iran started, we were seeing growth coming back into the economy, unemployment going down. We've got record
Oh God! I just noticed the crane
reduction in small boat crossings.
And you're
still
somewhere
dealing with a war on
between
two fronts.
3rd and 5th in the opinion polls. And Keir Starmer is historically unpopular. I mean, you know perfectly well that a lot of your colleagues want to change leader. They want it to be after the local elections and after there's perhaps time for some of the other candidates to get back into the Commons, like Andy Burnham. And, you know, if they're saving the Prime Minister now, it is only because they're going to get rid of him in a couple of months' time.
Well, we were elected in July 2024 on a manifesto which was about change. And I think people are frustrated, and I completely understand why they feel that change hasn't come quickly enough. And there have been too many distractions and too many issues that have created a lot of
too many puppies
around the achievement. And well, for example, on the Mandelson appointment, the Prime Minister has repeatedly apologised. He said it was the wrong call. It was a
He's never explained why he made
decision.
it, though, has he?
It's clear that the view was that Peter Mandelson had strong qualifications for the role in terms of his job as a trade commissioner, where he did very well, and a feeling that he would have the political antennae that would be useful in terms of being our ambassador to the United States. It turns out that it was the wrong decision on many levels, and the Prime Minister's apologised for that.
Does any part of you worry that political success...
Oh, I thought he was an advisor. He was the ambassador to the United States.
The
I'm sorry.
Of change you would need to deliver for voters to really feel it would have to be so enormous that in the real world, with your real budgets, it's just not doable. You know, people talk about Britain being ungovernable. It's not that it's ungovernable, but it's impossible.
Have a good evening, Kaiser.
As a government now.
Love to your dad.
And that there is a sense of declinism.
Declinism?
That it doesn't matter what you do, how much progress you make, how positive and constructive the changes are. There's just this kind of sense, because of, I think, all the years of chaos and failure. People are disillusioned, they're despondent. There's a mood in the country. It is our job to change that. And of course we have to change that through what we deliver and what we do, but it also has to be changed about the way we communicate what we're doing, that we make it absolutely clear
He's
that it's
saying
thanks
nothing.
to the interventions of this government and the policies
Just
of this
with the
government
British accent.
that we're making life better on a day-to-day basis. We've got a very high mountain to climb in order to get to where we want to. But we've got to change the mood.
Well, ain't no mountain high enough,
the mood
son.
by what we do and by what we say.
Stephen Kinnock, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, Prime Minister facing an inquiry tomorrow. They vote on if the inquiry moves forward. His appointment of an Epstein creep into the cabinet. Iran offering to open the Strait of Hormuz. Rubio rejecting the deal.
And just moments ago, Fox News senior foreign correspondent Trey Yings, he sat down with Secretary of State Marco Rubio in an exclusive interview, and they talked about a lot of things, including the Iran conflict and the White House Correspondents' Dinner. He joins us from the State Department. What were your top takeaways, Trey?
Dana, good morning. We just spoke with Secretary of State Marco Rubio for an exclusive interview, his first sit down since the ceasefire went into effect between the United States and Iran. We talked not just about that conflict, but also the negotiations between Israel and Lebanon and the ceasefire inside the Gaza Strip. But I also asked the secretary about the White House Correspondents' Dinner he attended on Saturday night. Here's what he had to say.
You were at the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday night. I'm curious what was going through your mind when shots were fired outside of the ballroom.
I didn't hear shots. I just saw a bunch of security people rushing in from the back of the room, front stage. So the first thing you wonder immediately, just knowing kind of what's out there, is there an internal threat? Is there a threat inside of the ballroom itself? Well, and then the second is, what are they dealing with, some mass event that's happening from the outside in? So, but I saw them follow all the security protocols. I was watching the security steps they took around the president. It was pretty apparent at that point that they were trying to remove him from the scene, as is appropriate. So, look, I mean, it was sort of an unfortunate situation that happened there, where one individual can disrupt what is, one of the bigger nights in Washington, especially when the president attends. So that's kind of the world we live in right now.
And you immediately went to the White House.
But he had such a good opportunity.
To the command center where the president's at in the back, and sort of the first assessment.
Failed miserably.
To be clear that all of the continuity of government things were in place, and that was quickly assessed to be the case.
The focus for the administration this week remains on those negotiations between the United States and Iran. You'll remember Saturday morning before the dinner, the president decided not to send special envoys Kushner and Witkoff to Islamabad, Pakistan, over questions about how serious the Iranians were about making a good faith deal. I asked the secretary about the Strait of Hormuz and reports that indicate the Iranians are willing to open it.
Early on Saturday, President Trump canceled the planned talks in Islamabad, Pakistan, encouraging the delegation not to go. And on Saturday, the president canceled the talks in Islamabad, Pakistan, keeping special envoys Kushner and Witkoff here in the United States. He said just 10 minutes later, the Iranians made a new offer on paper, and it was better.
If what they mean by opening the straits is, yes, the straits are opened as long as you coordinate with Iran, get our permission, or we'll blow you up, and you pay us, that's not opening the straits. Those are international waterways. They cannot normalize, nor can we.
No, I don't think so.
Normalize a system in which the Iranians decide who gets to use an international waterway and how much you have to pay them to use it.
The secretary spoke.
No, it's their waterway.
Willing to speak at this point, given the pressure that was applied on the regime, not just economically with the U.S.
If it's an international waterway, why ain't you sailing through it right now? Huh? Like, if it's international, go ahead. What's stopping you? It's theirs. Like, what's the so many miles out from the coast, and that fucking bitch is only like 5 miles wide, if that. It's theirs. We claim the Gulf of America and say all that shit's ours, so they can claim the shit right off of their shore. The German Chancellor says that Iran's leadership humiliating the United States. Hard to disagree with him.
Keine Strategie.
The Americans clearly have no strategy, and the problem with conflicts like this is always that you don't just have to go in, you also have to get out again. We saw that all too painfully in Afghanistan for 20 years. We saw it in Iraq.
Im Irak gesehen. Also, diese Geschichte ist.
So this whole affair is, as I said, ill-considered, to say the least.
Ich erkenne im Augenblick nicht, welche.
At the moment, I cannot see what strategic exit the Americans are now opting for, especially as the Iranians are obviously negotiating very skillfully, or rather, very skillfully not negotiating, and letting the Americans travel to Islamabad only to leave again without any results. An entire nation is being humiliated by the Iranian state leadership, particularly through these so-called Revolutionary Guards.
Vor allem durch diese sogenannten Revolutionsgarden.
I mean, I guess it's not hard to outsmart the Trump administration. I wonder if they're seeing these Lego videos. These are hilarious. They dropped a new one just a few hours ago.
We need to decide. This can't wait. Shh. Be quiet. Can't you see the president is sleeping? He must be dreaming that he defeated Iran. We did it. We did it.
They should have had him do the double dick dance. It would have been so easy. Okay, you should make him oranger. The hair is too full. Like, come on, make the block orange.
That was a great discussion. So, let's extend the deadline between us and Iran. We need to decide.
Wait, their AI can't do the voice? I'm a little let down. Come on, you can make Trump say anything online. There are like soundboards. You can go get that easily. Love some police. I actually watched a YouTube video essay about the fall of Police Academy the other day. Highly recommend it. I don't remember the name of the channel though. I'm trying. I really am. But I subscribe to like a good 10, 20 channels that are all like the same kind of video essays about shit like that. This is an Atlantic story they published earlier today, just breaking. In a closed-door meeting, J.D. Vance has repeatedly questioned the Defense Department's depiction of the war in Iran and whether the Pentagon has understated what appears to be the drastic depletion of U.S. missile stockpiles. Two senior administration officials told us that the Vice President has queried the accuracy of the information the Pentagon has provided about the war. He has also expressed his concerns about the availability of certain missile systems. In discussions with President Trump, several people familiar with the situation told us consequences of a dramatic drawdown in munitions reserves are potentially dire. U.S. forces would need to draw from these same stockpiles to defend Taiwan against China, South Korea against North Korea, and Europe against Russia. I don't think they care about any of those things anymore. Both Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, and General Dan Kane, who chairs the Joint Chiefs of Staff, have publicly said that the U.S. weapons stockpiles are robust. It portrayed the damage to Iranian forces after 8 weeks of fighting as drastic. Vance's advisors, who spoke with us on the condition of anonymity, told us that the vice president has presented his concerns as his own rather than accusing Hegseth or Kane of misleading the president. If you would like to read the rest of this, it's paywalled. I'm dropping the link with the paywall remover down in the chat. If you would like to read the rest of the Atlantic's reporting on that one. One of the reasons why we might be depleting our missile reserves is because we've been supplying other countries with Iron Dome systems, apparently. Israel sent the United Arab Emirates an Iron Dome defense system with troops to operate it early in the war with Iran, according to 2 Israeli officials and one U.S. official. The military, security, and intelligence cooperation between Israel and the UAE has reached new heights during the war. The unprecedented deployment of the Iron Dome system during the war was not previously made public. Since the beginning of the war, the UAE has been targeted by Iran more than any other country in the region. According to the Emirati Ministry of Defense, Iran fired around 550 ballistic and cruise missiles and more than 2,200 drones at the UAE. Most of the missiles and drones were intercepted, but some managed to hit military and civilian targets in the country. Other reporting is saying that the damage much more severe than the administration has let on. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered the Israeli Defense Forces to send an Iron Dome battery with interceptors and several dozen IDF operators after a call with the Emirati President Mohammed bin Zayed. This is according to the Israeli officials. That was the first time Israel had sent an Iron Dome battery to another country. The UAE was the first country outside the U.S. and Israel in which the system was used. This is according to a senior Israeli official. The system intercepted dozens of Iranian missiles. Oh, I know I've got the Joneses conspiracy antenna tingling. Lady B, welcome in. Silent, did I give you a proper good evening? Netanyahu's biggest rivals join forces for Israel's next election. This Naftali Bennett is not a good guy. 2 of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's most formidable political rivals said on Sunday they were joining forces in a bid to oust his coalition government in the upcoming election expected later this year. The former Prime Minister's right-wing Naftali Bennett and centrist Yair Lapid issued statements announcing the merger of their parties. Bennett 2026 and there is a future. We are standing here together for the sake of our children. The state of Israel must change direction. Bennett said the new party will be called Together and that he will be its leader. After 30 years, it's time to part with Netanyahu and open a new chapter for Israel. Since his first term in the 1990s, Netanyahu has become a polarizing figure at home and abroad. Bennett and Lapid have joined forces before, putting an end to Netanyahu's successive 12-year tenure in 2021, only to form a coalition government that, with a thin majority and deeply divided over major issues like the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, barely survived 18 months. Their coalition included, for the first time in Israel's history, a party drawn from the country's Arab minority, Palestinian by heritage, Israeli by citizenship, the United Arab List. It's something. We should root for it. Netanyahu was set to have a hearing in his criminal trial earlier today, about 90 minutes before the hearing was scheduled to begin, it was abruptly canceled. This was following a request from Netanyahu's attorney. After roughly 6 weeks of delays in his testimony, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was set to testify on Monday in his criminal trial, yet some 90 minutes before the hearing was scheduled to begin, it was abruptly canceled following a request from Netanyahu's attorney, Amit Haddad. An official notice several hours later confirmed that the hearing had been canceled after a phone call from Haddad to the chief secretary. The request for cancellation by Netanyahu's defense cited what it described as the prime minister's security schedule, saying further details would be provided to the court, the prosecution, in a sealed submission. What a slimy bitch. He also has really big hands. Do you think Trump is jealous of his gigantic fucking hands? Yeah, it was there Monday, which was technically yesterday, but kind of overnight, but I just said today because it was on Monday. If you feel me. Because I guess it is Tuesday in Israel currently. Or getting ready to be? Not quite, probably. Not quite. I don't know. Are they on Greenwich time? Or are they further over? One time zone over? Who knows? Fucking Tel Aviv probably has its own goddamn time. It's further over. Okay, then it's already Tuesday in Israel then. Oh, somebody hit the marijuana. Let's do that. Let's get high. Not high enough for this shit. People watching on Twitch and Kick. I don't know that I have Kick turned on. I'm not sure. Would you guys like to watch Jimmy Kimmel later tonight and see his response? I think it's 11 o'clock Eastern when he comes on. Will ABC pussy out and pull him? I'll totally stay on. We can watch Jimmy Kimmel. If you want to. If there's interest, if people are like, fuck Jimmy Kimmel, then I won't watch it. I got shit to do. I try to cover all the big stories to Jones. Foreign affairs is not quite my thing. But when it relates to the U.S. and shit, I try to cover elections and keep people informed on different world leaders and shit. This is a survey of the news. If you're expecting us to get super deep about shit, we're probably not going to do that. I'm letting you know what that news be doing. And what that news be doing down in Florida is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis proposing new congressional maps that would give Republicans 4 extra seats.
Florida legislature is going back to Tallahassee for a special session, and it's on redistricting. Governor DeSantis wants to change our current map of U.S. representatives to Congress.
Which is already gerrymandered.
As you can tell, the way our balance of power is, we have 20 Republican districts and 7 Democratic districts. and one district that's currently vacant but was held by a Democrat. If Governor DeSantis's map passed, this is what he's hoping for. You could tell it really changes the districts in Central Florida and in South Florida. It would reduce the chance of Democrats getting districts down to 4, according to the governor's staff. This is the map he sent, his office sent News 6 today. As you can tell on this map, Central Florida has 2 Democratic districts. That's District 9 and 10. This is Darren Soto. He represents parts of Orlando, Polk, and pretty much all of Osceola County. And this District 10 is Maxwell Frost. He represents much of Orange County.
They're trying to redistrict Maxwell Frost out of Congress, eh?
District 9 would become quite large. District 10 would become even smaller than it currently is. All of this is just a sea of red. Now, why does the governor want this? One, he says that the Supreme Court is going to rule against gerrymandering to benefit minorities, which was something that was in place during from the Voting Rights Act. He says the Supreme Court's going to overturn that. We might as well get a jump on it with this new map. He also
he's admitting it's gerrymandering against minorities.
Wants mid-decade redistricting to benefit Republicans in the midterms. Other states have done it. However, in Florida, we have a wrinkle. It's called the Fair Districts Act 2010.
That's the thing, is like they diluted their vote in Texas, and it may backfire on them because, as Flash said, they were counting on a Latino vote, which has completely flipped against him now. They had a boost in Latino Hispanic voting for Republicans that they had never seen before in 2024. But the polls show they have completely lost all that support.
Florida voters overwhelmingly passed this amendment to the Constitution. It says districts need to be drawn to be compact, and they also should not be drawn on partisan lines, which this map, clearly there is a purpose, a partisan purpose here. So we can expect lawsuits if this map passes, but we will see what happens in the Florida legislature and what happens with this map.
I did not see a single person bring that up as an assault on democracy or some faux outrage like they did with Virginia last week after the people voted on their new congressional map in Virginia. That case being heard today by the Virginia Supreme Court.
The Constitution was not followed, and we hope that the court will rule accordingly.
The General Assembly and the people validly ratified the amendment by strictly complying with the procedures set forth in the Constitution.
At the heart of Monday's case wasn't over last week's results, but how the Democrat-controlled General Assembly got the question before voters. Republican lawmakers who filed the initial lawsuit in Tazewell County say it was illegal for 3 reasons. 7 justices sit on the Supreme Court of Virginia, but only 2 primarily asked questions in the hearing, with most focused on one of the arguments, and that is what's considered the election. A constitutional amendment requires it be approved by 2 sessions of the General Assembly, separated by an election of the House of Delegates. The Republicans' lawyer argued early voting in last November's election was already underway when lawmakers approved it for the first time in October, and over 1 million people voted before knowing what was happening.
Now, to construe the word election, we begin with ordinary meaning. Webster's, Oxford, Black's Law, they all define election to mean the entire process by which votes are cast to determine a winning candidate.
Right, there's campaigning, there's ads, there's events, there's ballots being cast.
But an attorney for Democratic leadership say many entities, including the federal government, identify Election Day solely as the Tuesday after the first Monday in November, and anyone who votes before that takes the risk of information coming out after the fact that may have swayed their decision.
So your position requires us to interpret election in such a manner that literally every single vote that is cast for whatever the office is cast before the election even begins.
Yes, Your Honor, and that's consistent both with the way the federal government has consistently interpreted this, the federal courts, and sister states. A contrary interpretation would make Virginia a sole outlier.
The two other arguments the justices pressed attorneys on was whether lawmakers were allowed to take up amendments in a special session that was initially called in 2024 for the budget, and questions about whether courthouses needed to post notices about the amendment 90 days before the election began, which didn't happen in this case.
Now, we don't know when the justices could issue a ruling in this case, and of course, there are still at least two other lawsuits around this whole process of redistricting, at least one of which the Supreme Court has agreed to take up at a later date. At the Supreme Court of Virginia, Cameron Thompson, CBS 6 News.
Hold on, let me get you a Maynard. He's spicy tonight. Okay, I didn't even think about this, but here in our late stage capitalist dystopia that we live in, candidates betting on their own elections on betting apps has become an issue, and Kalshi has had to change their rules.
I'm Matt Gelka in Washington. The term betting on yourself gets a whole new meaning after one prediction market company says it stopped political candidates from doing just that. 3 political candidates across the country were caught betting on their own races on the predictive market platform Kalshi. The company made the announcement as part of its crackdown on insider trading.
Kalshi came out and they said that I insider traded on a market about me running for office. Now, I've been waiting for this.
I bet you did.
One of the 3 candidates is Mark Moran, an independent running for Senate in Virginia. Moran says he purposely placed a $100 bet on himself in order to get caught and bring attention to how prediction markets are hurting society.
These prediction markets are only helping to facilitate those with money to continue to buy us off.
Minnesota Democratic congressional candidate Matt Klein was another. He apologized and said the markets need clearer rules.
Do you believe him? Do you believe he did it to draw attention?
And regulations. Texas Republican congressional candidate Zeke Enriquez was the third one.
Not bad.
All 3 were suspended and fined by Kalshi for insider trading.
These are fundamentally corrupt markets. They are rife with insider trading, and they offer incredibly perverse incentives.
Kalshi and competitor Polymarket, along with other predictive market companies, have ignited a flurry of proposed legislation and legal
Yeah, I mean, it got me to talk about him.
There are at least a dozen proposals so far in Congress that range from which types of events can be traded, to gambling regulation, to outright bans of government officials and their families.
I just assumed when I heard about this, like people were betting on their own races, I assumed they were betting against themselves or some shit. Why did I think that?
From participating.
Going back to this prediction market and whether or not it's gambling. Look, if it acts
Taking
like
a dime.
gambling, if it talks like gambling, it is gambling, right?
One glaring issue the prediction market companies have working against them: trades predicting things like oil futures, Iran strikes, and tariff policy that have netted big sums of money for anonymous accounts and raised plenty of eyebrows. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
There is definitely some insider trading going on with the Trump administration. Okay, we're getting to the crime section of the show, and it's a wild one tonight. We got a mom accused of killing her kids. A woman stabbed a man and then set the house on fire. A cop got kidnapped, and he shot the perp inside the getaway car. I got wild footage of a Lamborghini crash in Miami. Multiple stories about people with drugs. 2 different stories about impersonations. And 2 different stories about kids causing some crazy shit. Socialist Aunt, welcome in. I need to go refill my drink. I'll be back momentarily. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's alright to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin.
All we're establishing is this guy's wicked sick aesthetic.
Not high enough for this shit.
I guess I gotta thank Matt Walsh for introducing me to Justin Freakin.
Hey there, y'all. We're about to get stupid, locked into what that news beat doing. Fu Manchu and a slick bandana, colder than ice, smoother than Santana. Audio, video, chat and calls. Right-wing nut jobs haunt the halls. What you wanna watch? Hey, what you think? And there's only one choice. It's Justin Freakin.
The guy's, he's a formidable voice in the call.
Light one up and tip one back. It's a right to be high. Let's grab a snack. It's fucking news, clip, panic, attack, and play your cards right and get a titty slap. Jump in Discords, have some fun. The man will talk to everyone. Get high and try to debate. When shit pops off, chat thinks it's great. What do you think you're doing? Join the troll patrol. Wherever discourse is brewing, he gives it that southern drawl.
So let's go ahead and bring in Justin. Hey Justin, how's it going, brother?
First of all, I want to say you're poser South. I'm in Alabama. I'm the real South.
Okay, all right. So why don't you tell us what it takes to be a man?
Well, I don't know. I'm in Alabama and I'll fuck a man in a dress. Why won't you fuck a man in a dress? Are you that insecure that you won't fuck a man in a dress?
That's fantastic. So you're okay with that, right?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
Right-wingers are morons.
Light one it and hit one back. One more click before we hit the set an alert when that shit goes live. Social fucking support and hit subscribe. Light one up and take a hit. He does no harm, but it takes no shit. He's the last one standing when the ship is sinking. Let's take another rip for Justin Freakin.
Light one up, tip one back. I'm Justin Freakin.
Not high enough for this shit.
We live in turbulent times. The media is full of deception, conspiracy theories, and fake news. Now, more than ever, it is important to ensure you're getting information from a source that's freaking reliable.
I'm Justin Mullins, and this is the Freakin' News.
Get a breaking or interesting story with a humorous twist in about a minute weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern on YouTube, BitChute, Odyssey, and more.
Yeah, I wish it said like TikTok and Instagram and shit. Oh, I didn't realize they'd reset the chat. Sorry, I had to pee. Oh, my camera. That's weird it did all that. Turn my camera off and reset the chat. Socialist Dawn, welcome in. Yes, crazy crime stories. That's what we got. Students at Boston University are suing the university for their handling of a school shooting. So go kiddos.
3 students hurt in the campus shooting at Brown University are suing the school. They claim Brown failed to keep campus safe from this violence. They also say the gunman had been in and around campus in the days leading up to that shooting and claim Brown did nothing about it. The shooting happened in December. The shooter opened fire on an economics review session, killing 2 students and hurting 9 others. The gunman later took his own life. We've reached out to Brown for a response, and we're waiting to hear back.
Brown ain't got nothing to say. I think I skipped this story like twice. I think I had it on my notes and skipped it twice. There was a shooting at a hospital in Chicago that left a cop dead. That suspect appeared in court earlier today. Apparently, he did not cooperate.
So Alfonso Talley refused to answer any of the judge's question, and he didn't even want to say his name when the judge was asking him that question. And we also found out that his own lawyer wasn't able to speak with him prior to court, so that's why this case is now continued for this week on Thursday. But we have some new video in from one of our viewers that shows Chicago police officers arresting Talley on Saturday. That was around Lincoln Square. And we found out today in court, Talley and someone else is accused of going to a Family Dollar that Saturday morning.
He was naked. Why was he naked? Why are they arresting him naked?
Arresting Talley on Saturday. That was around Lincoln Square. And we found out today in court, Talley and someone else is accused of going to a Family Dollar that Saturday morning. And Talley is accused of pistol whipping a 55-year-old female employee, stealing her money and keys. But we found out in court that the money had GPS on it. Officers found it and arrested him. Now, they also said he allegedly told officers he swallowed some drugs, which ended up bringing them to Swedish Hospital. And they said in court today that it was somewhere in the CT room where an officer uncuffed him. Talley was naked but had a blanket covering him, and then pulled out a gun and shot both Officer Bartholomew in the head and then the...
He was naked and pulled out a gun. From where? From fucking where? You're telling me you got into... Yes, Flash. So you took this man in. He was naked. He was completely... We just saw it. Where did the gun go? Did he take one of their guns? It sounds like he took one of their guns and they just didn't want to say that.
He swallowed some drugs, which ended up bringing them to Swedish Hospital. And they said in court today that it was somewhere in the CT room where an officer uncuffed him. Talley was naked but had a blanket covering him, and then pulled out a gun and shot both Officer Bartholomew in the head and then the other officer in the face, who is now in critical condition in the hospital. We heard from so many people saying that he's fighting for his life. And many elected officials were here, and the Chicago FOP during this hearing. And not only
the poop hole loophole
could have been avoided, but they criticized judges today, as they put it, for allowing violent offenders to be released.
Without pressure from the media, nothing changes. It just doesn't. They literally go hide in a corner and continue on with their nonsense.
Does he have a glass eye?
Criminals out on the street.
He's looking at me funny.
Any way, shape, or form they can, and excuse bad behavior. It needs to stop.
Ask these officers to go back on the street and keep fighting crime when the judges keep letting them out. And they have to show up to every situation thinking it's going to be their last. This is... It should end right now.
You can see how many people were emotional about this. So Talley is actually going to be back in court tomorrow. This is for a separate case where he's accused of violating the conditions of his release. There was a lot of criticism over electronic monitoring, which Talley was under at this one point. So certainly this is a case that we're going to be...
It's where they do a CT scan.
Court.
Brett, question for you. Did they mention in court how Talley was able to get a gun after he got arrested?
That is the one question that we still haven't heard about today. And since because this case has now been continued to Thursday, they haven't gotten into the specifics about that. But that is certainly a big question about how he was able to get a gun in the hospital.
Brett, I know they also criticize one judge in particular for, as they put it, letting Talley off easy. This judge is John Like. I understand you reached out to him as well. What did he have to say?
I certainly did. We wanted to give him an opportunity to tell his side of the story, since he's a judge who has presided over at least one other criminal case involving Alfonso Talley, and he's going to be the judge presiding over the case tomorrow about the Talley violating the conditions of his release. So we are still waiting to hear back from him, but certainly this is one of those things where I was talking to elected officials and I asked them, had you ever reached out to some of these judges or even criticizing state lawmakers over the Safety Act? That's another thing that they said they want to consider and they want to do, but so far they have not had any of those meetings of why there's a difference in opinion on how they're proceeding on some of these criminal cases.
Maybe some other injury?
Thank you. We'll check back in with you for the news at 5. And a woman from Hammond is facing charges for this shooting as well. Prosecutors say Olivia Burgos lied in 2000.
Why are you such a pretty man? Why are you looking at me like that? Damn, dude.
24 to get Talley the gun used this weekend. The two were dating then. She told them she bought the gun for him because she believed he couldn't leave.
He's on the TVs because he's a pretty man.
Lying about drug use and her address.
Yeah, he does. He's giving me them fuck me eyes. Damn. I mean, like the scruffiness. The smile, them eyes, shit. Damn, dude. I saw him on Grindr. I know what I'd tell him.
I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside of me.
Dustin, did I tell you good evening? Silent, I'm not sure I gave you a proper good evening. I got sidetracked by the handsomeness of that man on the Chicago news station. Promethean, welcome in. Media Winch, darling, thank you for the resub. That was the third one. I am a stoner. What was this story about? Oh yeah, this woman killed her kids and then she ran away. They've caught her in another state. She appeared in court today. She has agreed to be extradited.
The Wellesley mother accused of killing her young son and daughter inside their family home agrees to return to Massachusetts. Jeanette McCausland appeared over Zoom in a Vermont courtroom this afternoon where she agreed to extradition. She will now be moved back to Massachusetts to face murder charges. Her arraignment legally has to happen within the next 2
She's got pretty eyes.
weeks. The kids were found in McCausland's home on Edgemore Avenue Friday night. Both kids, a boy and a girl,
Ugly
went to
kids.
Schofield Elementary School in Wesley. The McCausland children appear to have been strangled. That is according to information obtained by 25 Investigates. Investigative reporter Ted Daniel joining us live with the breaking details. This is just a heartbreaking story, Ted.
Kale, these are elementary school kids, just 6 and 7. The new information I'm getting from sources today.
We just got 6-7 in the most horrible story possible. The two children that were strangled by their mother were ages 6-7. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Cancel Justin. Cancel Justin. And I called them ugly, too. Shit, what's wrong with me?
Both kids, a boy and a girl, went to Schofield Elementary School in Wesley. The McCausland children appear to have been strangled. That is according to information obtained by 25 Investigates. Investigative reporter Ted Daniel joining us live with the breaking details. This is just a heartbreaking story, Ted.
Kale, these are elementary school kids, just 6 and 7. The new information I'm getting from sources today about this case, it's all tough to hear.
25 Investigates has learned evidence suggests the children were strangled with a cord. It will be up to the state medical examiner to confirm that. Wellesley police discovered the bodies Friday night
Strangled with a
during well-being
cord.
check. However, 2 sources tell me the last time anyone saw the kids was Wednesday. That's a window of approximately 50 hours. I'm told McCausland tried to kill herself by multiple methods before she fled to Bennington, Vermont. Evidence in the home suggests she may have used a knife, cord, and even a hair dryer during what may have been a failed attempt at electrocution. Wow. Sources say McCausland had previously been committed for a mental health evaluation over concerns of self-harm. We don't know when that happened, and any mental health records that exist are confidential. I spoke with noted Boston-based attorney Martin Kane about that. He's a former prosecutor. Kane says mental health will likely factor in to McCausland's defense.
I don't know the facts specifically about this case, but when you look at what I've heard and what's been reported, it's hard to believe that a sane person could kill 2 children, 2 of their own children. So I have to expect undoubtedly that the defense in this case will be some type of mental health issue.
One of the things we will likely learn in the coming
did the kids say something? Were they sassy? Yeah, she might have had a good reason.
On any medication for her mental health. We don't know much about the father yet, other than that he was out of state when the bodies were found. We ran all this information that we received by the Norfolk DA's office. A spokesperson says it's a pending criminal matter, and the office has no comment. Kale, we will continue to stay on top of this difficult story and bring you any new developments like this as we get them.
It is a tough one, Ted. Thank you for staying on top of it. We appreciate it.
It was a tough story, but then I get hung up on stupid things and laugh my ass off through like the most horrific shit. So that's the Troll Patrol. That's what this show is. Let's do more of it. A man in California got stabbed by a woman before she set the house on fire. Those are usually fun kind of stories.
Apple Valley home after a domestic dispute takes an escalating turn. What started as a stabbing investigation quickly turned into a barricaded suspect and a house fire.
A very disturbing story. KTLA Shelby Nelson is live in Apple Valley with details. Shelby.
Sam and John, this all started at around 8:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah, she might have had a perfectly good reason.
We still have investigators out here on Washone Road in Apple Valley. Now they tell me that a body was recovered inside the home where this investigation is rooted, and we did just see the coroner move into there.
We got SWAT on the roof right there. We got the ladder truck right there.
A chaotic morning for Apple Valley neighbors as thick black smoke billowed out from this home on Washone Road. And it all stemmed from a domestic dispute involving one man who was stabbed.
The guy that was stabbed in the house came out, and the lady was still barricaded in the house, and they kept trying to tell her to come out the house.
The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department telling KTLA a woman is accused of stabbing the man before setting the house on fire and refusing to exit. Neighbors say the two are a couple and have been together for a long time. The victim was taken to the hospital in critical condition. Deputies with the Apple Valley Patrol Station were able to get one other person out who was inside the home. Snipers set up on rooftops nearby as authorities evacuated neighbors.
We all got evacuated, then you would hear little popping noises, and they were telling us that they had ammunition.
Come out the house, they said it over 13 times, and then a big explosion happened.
It's unclear what prompted this domestic dispute that kept investigators here for hours. But neighbors, some of whom do not want to be identified, say authorities have been called to the house before.
I don't
necessarily believe it, just because
Usually it
they
escalates.
say it was the wife, but the wife, I don't know, like I've never known her to have that kind of temper or like he does.
Firefighters extinguishing the blaze with remnants of charred vehicles and residual smoke.
Deputies went in after the fire was extinguished and located a deceased person inside the home.
Now, we have seen family out here. They did not want to speak to us on camera. Authorities have not identified the victim or the suspect in this case, but the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department tells us that they are currently investigating this with their specialized investigation division. Reporting live in Apple Valley, I'm Shelby Nelson. Sending it back to you, Sam John.
Shelby, thank you.
She was live on the scene then. Let's see if we've got an update on that. Don't know exactly when it took place. Three days ago. I'm not seeing an update. Go to the web page and it's not there. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything since the story we just watched. I've not seen an update. Shit. Well, that's not cool. Okay, this one should be a wild one. I think we've got some video that goes with it. So if you are not watching, you might, if you've got me on in the background, you might want to fix your eyes towards the screen.
Stop! Stop the car! Stop the car! Stop the car! I will shoot you!
A California police officer kidnapped. His body cam capturing his wild confrontation with a speeding driver who refuses to stop.
Kill us, bro! You're gonna kill us, bro! You need to stop! Hey, stop the car! Stop the car! Stop the...
But that fleeing driver refuses to stop. It all began a few minutes earlier with an alarm at a grocery store. A crew of thieves caught on surveillance camera backing an SUV into the store's front doors and shattering the glass. Two people then running inside. Just minutes later, Antioch police officers arrive and try to block that SUV from escaping. One of the officers opens the passenger side door, confronting the driver. That driver hits reverse, knocking the officer inside the SUV. That's when the driver puts it in drive and hits the gas, making his escape with that Antioch police officer in his passenger seat. This is dashcam video from the police car that was hit and shoved out of the way.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
Wow.
Fleeing SUV, the officer now threatening to shoot the driver if he won't stop.
I'm warning you, I will shoot your leg! Stop! Stop the car! Stop the car! Stop! Stop! I will shoot you!
Moments later, the driver hits a parked car and jumps out of the SUV, taking off on foot.
Z5, shots fired.
That officer finally able to get out of the vehicle, and he begins searching for the wounded driver in a local neighborhood.
Z5.
More officers quickly swarming the scene and finding the driver's hiding place in some bushes and taking him into custody.
Yo, hands up! Keep your hands up! Do not move him until I tell you to! Do not move him until I tell you!
He's crying.
Right there at the end, you heard the driver screaming, he shot me," as he was being arrested.
Oh, he's crying because he's
Driver
shot.
identified as 23-year-old Dominic D'Souza to a local hospital for treatment of a bullet wound to the leg. He's now facing charges of kidnapping, robbery, grand theft, and assault with a deadly weapon on a peace officer. Multiple investigations now launched to determine whether Antioch Police Department policies and procedures were followed.
The cop got knocked into the vehicle.
With a speeding driver who refuses to stop.
Come on, bro. You're gonna kill us, bro. You need to stop. Hey, stop the car. Stop the car. Don't do it. Stop the...
But that fleeing driver refuses to stop. It all began a few minutes earlier with an alarm at a grocery store. A crew of thieves caught on surveillance camera backing an SUV into the store's front doors and shattering the glass. 2 people then running inside. Just minutes later, Antioch police officers arrive and try to block that SUV from escaping. One of the officers opens the passenger side door, confronting the driver. That driver hits reverse, knocking the officer inside the SUV. That's when the driver puts it in drive and hits the gas, making his escape with that Antioch police officer in his passenger seat. This is dash cam video.
Well, it seems like the cop shut the door and didn't get out. He could have rolled.
Get out, get out, get out.
Back inside that fleeing SUV, the officer now threatening to shoot the driver if he won't stop.
I'm warning you, I will shoot your leg. I'm about to get out. I'm about to get out. Stop. Stop the car. I'm about to get out. Stop the car. No. Stop! I will shoot you!
Moments later, the driver hits a parked car and jumps out of the SUV, taking off on foot.
Z5, shots fired.
That officer finally able to get out of the vehicle, and he begins searching for the wounded driver in a local neighborhood.
Z5.
More officers quickly swarming the scene and finding the driver's hiding place in some bushes and taking him into custody.
Yo, hands up! Keep your hands up! Do not move him until I tell you to! Do not move him until I tell you to!
Right there at the end, you heard the driver screaming, he shot me," as he was being arrested. Paramedics taking that driver, identified as 23-year-old Dominic D'Souza, to a local hospital for treatment of a bullet wound to the leg. He's now facing charges of kidnapping, robbery, grand theft, and assault with a deadly weapon on a peace officer. Multiple investigations now launched to determine whether Antioch Police Department policies and procedures were followed.
The well and the he shot me sounded like an Eddie Murphy character from a movie is hilarious. You go to Miami, where we have a Lamborghini. Crashed into a pole, it looks like. Apparently some insane video going along with it.
Thank you. Now at noon, Good Samaritans rush to help people injured in a deadly crash. The Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office says the driver was ejected from the car and died at the scene. CBS News Miami's Morgan Reiner is your reporter live in Opelika. And Morgan, neighbors are now demanding change.
Yeah, Naja, neighbors say that what you see behind me, the totaled cars, is all too
I'd totally go necking with
the
her.
reason why you see that 18-wheeler is in the middle of the road stopped is because a few minutes before the show started, it got into an accident with a car. And now neighbors are saying something needs to be done. Seconds before this car burst into flames,
the girl was still like close by from the car, and I literally pulled her away from the car with me and my wife.
James Moyer said his wife then started soothing her.
Broken bones, and barely even breathing and trying to fight for her life at that moment, you know. And for my wife, she was just crying like crazy, trying to whisper into her ear, saying like, please, you know, God is with you, stay alive and stuff like that, trying to reassure her that she's still here.
The crash happened just after 7 Sunday morning when the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office said a car sped down Northwest 135th Street just past 27th Avenue when it slammed into these parked cars, damaging at least 5. The driver was ejected from the car and he died on scene. The 2 women in the car were transported to rider trauma in critical condition.
Car in the air. Because I was looking right at it. I come outside, as you can see, the dead body right there in front of my house.
Carlos Tapanas says this is too common.
There's another car that went into the first house. There's been 3 cars that
Florida man.
Here. That's why they put this gate.
He says the intersection of 27th Avenue and 135th Street is to blame. He said the intersection is not level, so it's like a hump cars drive over, and if they're going too fast, they lose control.
Yeah, I just got off the phone with the commissioner right now, letting them know, what happened and what actions are they planning on doing.
I did email the
know
county in the last 30 minutes about the intersection and this road to see what can be done. I will, of course, let you know as soon as I hear back. For now, I'm live in Northwest Miami-Dade. Morgan Reiner, CBS News, Miami.
Oh, I know you're a Florida man. Next couple of stories take place in Indiana, though. There's some crazy shit going on with Indiana. Apparently, they got a real drug problem up there. Indiana Senate District 31 candidate arrested for alleged cocaine possession, resisting arrest. The Fishers Police Department said officers responded to a person that was soliciting a neighborhood in Fishers around 8 p.m. on Sunday. A man running for Indiana Senate District 31 in the upcoming primary is facing charges after police allegedly found cocaine in his car. Andrew Dieselin. Dieselin these nuts. No, hold on. I didn't do that right. He's 39. He was arrested and charged with possession of cocaine and resisting law enforcement. The Fishers Police Department said officers responded to a person that was soliciting a neighborhood. I hear soliciting a neighborhood. I think they're wearing a short skirt and a long jacket. Police said they found Dieselin in his vehicle at the neighborhood clubhouse. When the responding officer asked Dieselin why he was in the neighborhood, he wouldn't give a clear answer. He said he received permission from the HOA. According to court documents, the responding officer said they noticed Dieselin had been speaking quickly, making very quick, nervous, and unorganized movements, sweating, and his pupils were pinpoint. Court documents say all these were typical signs of someone who was under the influence of drugs. When the officer asked for his ID, Dieselin allegedly said that he needed to leave and tried to put his vehicle in reverse. According to court documents, the responding officer told Dieselin to stop and get out of his vehicle, and then the officer opened the door and grabbed Dieselin's left wrist. Court documents said Dieselin, I think I'm saying that correctly, continued to frantically move around, placing one leg out of the vehicle like he was going to get out before putting it back in the vehicle. I want to see the body cam. He resisted being put in handcuffs several times before finally complying. They found a small bag of cocaine. Who hasn't been out and about with a small bag of cocaine? I don't even know that he had it. Cops are known to just place fucking drugs on you just because. But apparently this woman did not have the cops place it on her. She had methamphetamine in a baggie. She decided she swallowed it and she choked on it inside of the jail intake.
An Emsl woman who was being booked into jail on a shoplifting charge is now facing drug trafficking charges after deputies say she choked on a baggie of meth. Authorities say during processing, they noticed Lindsay Stokes was choking. A confinement officer gave her the Heimlich maneuver and found a baggie of meth in her mouth. Along with the theft charge, she is also now facing drug possession.
It was just adrenaline pumping.
Yeah. Were you real shaky in the moment? Tell me how you were feeling.
Scared. Wanting to call my mom.
For many sixth graders, calling mom would be the first instinct in a scary moment. But when their bus driver...
This wasn't my next story. It just auto-played and I'm going with it.
I had a medical emergency and...
We'll find out what happened.
Stepped up when I passed out driving the bus.
5 students, opposite sides of the bus, all came together to work effortlessly as a team.
One steered, one hit the air brake, one called the law, one called the school district, and the last one administered medicine to the school bus driver.
She
Well, goddamn.
sort of like fell over, like flopped over, and everyone started like standing up.
I saw that the bus was veering off to the side, then I grabbed the wheel.
And then, so she passed out again, and then the bus started rolling forward. And I mean, it.
Also, that reporter is really good.
Speed, so I didn't know it had air brakes. So whenever I clicked the brakes, it about threw me out the windshield. And then I.
Oh shit!
When I got up there,
I saw her medication in her hand, and I saw like her reaching for it. I knew like that's what she needed.
The students said it all unfolded in seconds. Hancock School District leaders said the middle school students worked together as a team until first responders arrived.
You know, I'm not surprised to hear that our kids remained calm and acted swiftly. This emergency situation
Hey, good job, kids.
Definitely been detrimental, and they handled it exactly how they should have, and we're extremely proud of them.
A day later, bus driver Leah Taylor says she's back to normal, feeling better and very grateful.
I'm very proud of them. I couldn't ask for any better students than.
Clinically, you ready to have a bong hit with me?
I love every single one of them.
And is this something that you're gonna ever look back on and think about?
All the time. I'm going to think of how they saved my life.
And her students will remember how their instinct.
It may autoplay something else, and we'll go with it. We did that one night, and we ended up watching that documentary about the Navy from like 1986.
She's valedictorian,
and it was very interesting.
And golf, started a social justice club, and mentors grade schoolers.
Am I hearing you right that it helps you cope?
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
It helps you cope?
The loss of her sister, 19-year-old Sade Robinson, murdered and dismembered after a first date in April 2024.
She knew how high my ceiling was, and she wanted me to reach it. So I feel like I've never felt that I had the possibility of giving up, because I want to do that.
Well, damn.
Kind of live for her.
Yeah.
Is that what keeps you going?
A lot of
dismembered.
I feel like I don't want to disappoint her.
While Reams was grieving, the world kept turning.
I had to take my AP US history exam on the morning of her memorial, like the funeral.
Just hours later, delivering a tearful eulogy.
Sade was so special to me.
The hardest thing to get through was probably the trial. It was just so much at once.
And it was also delayed.
Yeah, it was delayed, which made things kind of harder because we had been preparing for it, we had been waiting for it.
On day 2 of the now convicted killer's trial, Reams was taking her AP statistics exam.
Oh yeah, I totally understand picking the bear.
Losing sleep and sometimes sanity, all for this moment.
You got it. You can do it. What is this?
Acceptance to Harvard.
I felt stunned a lot. I was like, did I really deserve this? Did they get something wrong?
How do you feel about it now?
I'm intimidated by I don't know, the elitist nature of a place like Harvard.
Of an Ivy League?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've become more confident in the fact that I've earned that.
Would you be here without her?
I don't know where I would be.
Oh, those are Goombas. I thought it was the poop emoji.
Is her story part of your story?
Definitely. She made me a large part of who I am.
Yeah, girl, go get it.
A water cannon salute, a Medal of Honor flight for a Minnesota hero missing for 8 decades.
It's been 85 years this month that our Uncle Bill left U.S. soil.
Uncle Bill.
And he's coming back today.
Standing by his nieces and nephews.
Everybody's got shivers going up their spine to find out that he's coming back.
Witnessing something they've waited generations for.
We wish that our mothers could be here.
New Ulm native U.S. Army Captain Willibald Bianchi stared down the enemy in World War II, survived the Bataan
Wait, he's
death
still
march,
alive?
endured years as a prisoner of war before dying in friendly fire.
You read their stories and you can't believe
Oh, it must be his bones.
They're just so amazing.
It was the bravery he showed on the battlefield that earned him the highest highest military decoration, this Medal of Honor. But for his family, what they didn't have was him, his remains unidentifiable, buried at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific in Honolulu. Until modern DNA testing finally changed that. A 2018 sample from Bianchi's sister and other relatives helped scientists identify his remains in 2025, leading to this moment. After decades,
I don't really give a shit about this.
This is happening today, and it's real.
I mean, I'm glad for him. That's
Captain
cool.
Bianchi is not missing. He's home.
Well, this week, Grand Canyon University is graduating more than 30,000 students, including one educational studies major from Colorado.
And in attendance, there was a special guest who's known that student from the
Which we're watching local news, so
a chance encounter. Zach Perletsky.
It's a feel-good story for the locals.
Yeah, graduation
wasn't meant for a national audience.
Time for not only the people who are graduating and their families and the people who have helped them get to where they are along the way. Now, just a few weeks after Chloe Huddle was born, her
That
mom,
dude's got a hell of a mustache.
who helped deliver her, started a
Okay, enough of that. We were just watching local news roulette, and I think it was going through different channels. Like, I don't think it was staying in Indiana where we started. But I think the stories I've got are far more interesting. Though the one with the girl that got accepted to Harvard after her sister was dismembered, that one got to me. Chalk up like that's number 10, the 10th time I've cried on stream. Well, maybe 15th. That one got me. A football player for the University of Alabama, ex-football player, accused of impersonating NFL players. Apparently dressed up in wigs and used makeup.
Federal authorities say that a former college football player orchestrated an elaborate multi-million-dollar loan fraud scheme by pretending to be NFL players.
Luther Davis, who played at the University of Alabama between 2007 and 2010, is charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. Officials say he donned makeup and even wigs to scam lenders out of nearly $20 million.
Davis allegedly impersonated a trio of well-known NFL players in 2023 and 2024, including Michael Penix Jr., Xavier McKinney, and David Njoku.
NBC News correspondent Ryan Chandler joins us now. I mean, Ryan, just even look at
Njoku.
Like, make it make sense for us. Like, how exactly did this scam work?
Yeah, I've been trying to make sense of it all morning, Morgan. I mean, it really sounds like something that may be too far-fetched for a Hollywood script. But listen, this is what we know from federal charging documents. They say that it started out with Davis and a co-conspirator who federal prosecutors allege is a man named C.J. Evans. It started with them.
I was going to say no, it sounded like he acted alone, but apparently he did have a conspirator. So yes, this is a conspiracy.
Telling representatives of lending companies that they were the representatives of these NFL.
That might be a game that we play going forward. Is this a conspiracy?
Players, which may be easy enough to do over the phone until the time came when the lenders needed to see these prospective borrowers face to face, or in this case, over video conference. And that's when prosecutors allege Davis threw on the makeup and the wig and even tried his best impersonation of these NFL players and was actually successful in securing some almost $20 million in loans over almost a year and a half. I don't know. Maybe this is a lesson that Zoom isn't good for everything. Maybe a face-to-face meeting would have been easier to suss out something's not quite right. But just incredible how a scheme like this was so successful, allegedly, y'all.
Truly, Ryan. We know that Davis and associates.
It shows you, like, you know, just act with confidence. Fake it until you make it.
Could they face, and will any of these victims get their money back?
Well, wire fraud could carry a serious sentence of up to 20 years in federal prison. I think all that money is gone. Reporting shows that they spent it on real estate and cars and jewelry. But the good thing here is the victims here weren't necessarily individuals. They were institutional lenders. So you got to think they have some insurance, some policy to recoup those losses. But that is one weird claim to make, isn't it?
Or perhaps they'll liquidate those assets and try to restore those institutions. Wow, Ryan Chandler with all the bizarre details in this one. Thank you so much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC
Shut up,
News
Tom
app.
Llama.
Watch live on our YouTube channel.
Some policy to
Bring back Lester. We want to bully Lester again. Good times. A couple years ago, I told you about a dude who was committing insurance fraud with a bear costume. I think he was sentenced or entered a plea or some shit like that. Convicted in his bear suit insurance fraud scheme.
An update tonight on the case of some clever criminals, a group of people dressing up as bears and trashing their own cars for insurance money.
And CBS LA assignment editor Mike Rogers at the desk. Mike, they weren't that clever because, of course, they were caught and now sentenced.
Yeah, I think it was the opposable thumbs in the video that gave them away when this whole thing was caught on security cameras. We'll show you the video here. These people dressed up in these bear costumes and then allegedly ransacked their own cars. There it is, the bear climbing through the front seat here. California Department of Insurance prosecuted this case. Everybody involved in this, or 3 out of the 4 people involved in this, were all sentenced to 180 days in jail, but it's 180 days in weekend jail. So they are free during the week, and then they check themselves into jail on the weekends, and they do that for 180 days.
Oh, that's the Epstein deal.
But that is what the judge ordered, and that is what the sentence is. There's also some restitution involved in all of this. The California Department of Insurance says they're always on the lookout for fraudsters, and if you do that, you too could end up in weekend jail.
52 weeks in a year, that's a lot of weekends.
In weekend jail.
Okay, Mike, thanks.
What in the white people, white collar bullshit is that? I've never heard of weekend jail. That's more time than Epstein got. Next couple of stories are going down to Florida. Where they're going to go harder on these teens that took over an amusement park than they did on Epstein, aren't they?
Takeover lands 9 kids in handcuffs. At least 1,000 teens were at Icon Park Saturday night, according to the Orange County Sheriff. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. I'm Luann Sorrell.
And I'm John Brown. Some of the teens got into fights and 2 deputies were hurt trying to stop it all. Fox 35's Alexis Clevenger joins us live tonight from Icon Park. So Alexis, the sheriff says this takeover was all organized through social media.
John, Luann, yeah, and it's something that they were aware of and prepared for. Over 50 deputies responded here to Icon Park on Saturday night, trying to break up those fights and get those crowds out of the area. What unfolded on Saturday night at Icon Park in Orlando wasn't just a meetup. Deputies say it was a teen takeover.
We were aware in advance that this could happen because we monitor social media.
According to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, more than 1,000 teens packed into the area and fights broke out across the property.
Anytime.
You all heard him. He says he monitors little kids' social media. Somebody needs to investigate this creep.
We have 1,000, juveniles, many of them whom are starting fights. It's just sometimes hard to corral.
2 deputies were hurt trying to put a stop to it.
One fell on their shoulder and one twisted an ankle.
They are out of the hospital and are going to be okay. Now, 9 teens ranging in age from 13 to 16 years old are facing charges.
Some of these are very, very serious crimes. Some are charged with battery. Some are charged with resisting law enforcement. Some are charged with battery on a law enforcement officer.
Deputies say there wasn't a particular promoter behind organizing the event.
This was more organically through teenagers that passed along an attachment with not really any promoter name.
The sheriff is sending this message to parents.
Invest your life in the lives of your children. Know what your children are doing, and monitor their social media.
We reached out to Icon Park for a statement on the takeover. We did not get a response.
Never heard of Icon Park.
And the sheriff said,
Clinically, are you still here? Is Icon Park cool? It looks kind of cool.
that he is aware of another planned takeover on May 9th. He says they're going to have dozens of deputies out here and even transport vans for those who decide that they want to break the law. Live in Orlando, Alexis Clevenger, Fox 35 News.
I've never heard of anybody saying we're packing up and going to Icon Park. I don't know what kind of facility it is. What kind of rides they may have. Well, your children might be riding lawnmowers into a Walmart. It's like it's senior prank time, so they're doing some crazy shit. And we've got teens riding lawnmowers into the Walmart. Probably also going for social media clout.
New at 10, Ocala police say this social media stunt landed 2 young men behind bars. Cops say one drove a lawnmower into a Target. Yeah, you heard that right. While the other one filmed it.
There was a Target.
A witness recorded the whole thing on her phone and shared that video with us.
A man wearing overalls and a straw hat rides a lawnmower into a Target. It's not the start of a joke, but instead the start of the story behind 2 arrests, according to Ocala police. Cops say Yannick Skaradek drove the lawnmower into the store on Southwest College Road yesterday. Officers say Luke Charsky filmed it for them to later post on social media. Video shows Skaradek damaged the front door of the store when he crashed into the sides not once but twice. And police say this isn't even Skaradek's first stunt this weekend. They say the day before he walked into a Culver's restaurant and used a leaf blower. Cops say these are crimes, not harmless videos. Both men are 18. Skaradek charged with criminal mischief and disorderly conduct.
He used a leaf blower at a Culver's.
With principal to disorderly conduct.
Both suspects bonded out of jail today, and a check of one of their TikTok pages shows both videos are still up. In fact, the lawnmower video was posted after they got out of jail.
Okay, how do we get to their TikTok page?
Both principal to
Janik Skaradek. Fuck, kind of. I'm sorry to make fun of your name, bro. Janik. Garrett. No. I want their TikTok. Give me their TikTok. I want to see it. New York Post doesn't have the TikTok. Very let down. He only has like 430 followers. Oh, the account is down now. So TikTok no longer up, even though they apparently posted it.
Video shows 2 Florida teens driving a lawnmower through Target. Ocala Police Department arrested Yannick Skaradek and Luke Charsky on Saturday. Police say Skaradek was the one who drove the lawnmower through the Target, and they claim that he was blowing a leaf blower the night before at a nearby Culver's restaurant. Police say that this was not a harmless joke and it put people in danger. Skaradek faces charges like criminal mischief and disorderly conduct. They also say that Charsky was charged as a principal with disorderly conduct for filming the incident. Video shows 2
What school is he a principal at? We've watched a lot of bear videos the last couple of shows. Let's go out to the sea. This is a humpback whale. He was struggling to find its way off the shallow waters of Germany's coast. They had to coax him out, I guess.
Liegt nicht auf der Sandbank auf.
He's not stranded on the sandbank. He's in water deep enough for him to swim away from, and so the animal is being left in peace for now. And we naturally hope that he's simply gathering his strength there and will be able to swim away on his own, and then hopefully, eventually, find his way out of the Baltic Sea.
Warten, wie sich das die nächsten Tage, Wochen entwickelt.
The whale was named Timmy. It previously freed itself, but it's run into trouble again.
Liegt nicht auf der Sandbank auf.
He's not stranded on the sandbank. He's in water deep enough for him to swim away from, and so the animal is being left in peace for now. And we naturally hope that he's simply gathering his strength there and will be able to swim away on his own.
It didn't really show us a lot of the
eventually find his way out of the
whale.
Baltic Sea.
He's a cute little guy.
Liegt nicht auf der Sandbank auf.
He's not stranded on the sandbank. He's in water deep enough for him to swim away from, and so the animal is being left in peace for now. And we naturally hope that he's simply gathering his strength there and will be able to swim away on his own, and then hopefully, eventually, find his way out of the Baltic Sea.
Warten, wie sich das die nächsten Tage, Wochen entwickelt.
Timmy. Named it Timmy. All right, Twitch people, you are heading over to. We haven't said hey to Rathbone in a while. Let's go hang out with Rathbone. Light one up, tip one back. It's alright to have a little fun before we hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol.